All right, welcome to the Fantasy Football MBAs. That stands for matchups, breakdowns, and analysis. And we are helping you graduate the fantasy football champion. That's right. Right. You get with this, you can get with that. You know what I mean?
With this, because this is where it's at.
That's right. It's your boy Steve here, and I am joined by.
Always T. Campbell online.
Right.
Jay in the house, week 10, baby.
All right, week 10. And this is a special week because me and EJ, we face off this week.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I may not give all the information, you know.
Okay. Now see, next year we all three got to get in the league.
Yeah, no, for sure. You gonna be in this next year, man.
Am I? Okay, so guys, Steve won't let me in this league. He's a league snob. He won't let me in.
Let me give you the background. We had two open. We thought we had two open spots. EJ, he got one of them. And then T. Campbell, he wanted to do the other one. And then the dude who thought he was going to lead, he thought he was going to not play because of COVID.
We had a contract for me to join the league. Passed the physicals. The money was right. And at the last hour, you know, I sent the text like I'm headed to the airport and no response from the front office. And
to make it worse, the dude that decided that he was going to come back, he's just giving up. He scored 39. He scored 39 points last week. He just ghosted his team.
Waste of space.
Yeah, man.
That's how it is, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, week 10, guys.
Week 10, let's do it.
All right, jumping into that first game, we got Indy and Tennessee. I'll start off actually with Indy. I do not really like anybody on Indy this week. I'll be honest, you can pass on Tennessee's defense, but the pass catchers for Indy have been like really difficult to predict. I mean, every week, you know,
But have they? I think we know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
So, I mean, you could pick Zach Pascal, you could pick Pittman. I mean, one of them will catch
3 tight ends.
One week, and then the next week, you know, they'll put up absolutely nothing. So I'm really not a big fan of Indy this week. Still like their defense. And as far as their running backs go, I mean, I had to pick up Jordan Wilkins because I'm continued to get ravaged by injuries. He seems to get the ball a little bit on the early downs, and then they put in Taylor a little bit later, you know, when they throw the ball. I think if you're desperate, you can play him, but I would really avoid him if you have a healthy team and you got, you know, some other viable options. As far as Tennessee goes, it's going to be another tough game, you know, for Tennessee. Indy's pass defense is really tough, but I would still play Tannehill over most quarterbacks. You know, he had a pretty tough matchup last week, and he still threw 2 touchdowns. He's 19 touchdowns, the 3 interceptions on the season. I think if you need a safe play, he's usually pretty good for 1 touchdown and about 200 yards. So I think you can play him. But one person who I'm not as high on this week is Derrick Henry. Just for the fact that Indy, like against the pass, against the run, I'm pretty sure they're number 1 against rushing as far as rushing yards allowed goes. And I believe they're 3rd in yards per carry allowed against opposing running backs. So I don't know if this would be Henry's best game. He had a tough game last week. And just an interesting stat about him, in 5 of the last 8 games he's played, he's been under 4 yards per carry. So just a tough spot in the season, some tough teams he's going against. Off of volume alone, you'll probably be okay. But I wouldn't expect a huge game out of him. What else do you guys have on this one?
Yeah, for me, you know, I think like most NFL teams, the right cornerback, left cornerback are pretty solid. I think that's going to be the case for Indy, but that leaves an opening for the slot receiver in Tennessee. And he's been pretty decent since finally coming back from injury. And that's and I had him and I had to let him go. But I think he may get some sneaky yards in here this week.
What are you talking about? What's his name? What's his name?
I can't think of it. That's
Adam
why
Humphries?
that's what I'm talking about.
Was it Humphreys? I think is that.
No, the slot receiver in Tennessee. I will get it later. I'll get it. But I'm telling you, he's been
He's
all right.
pretty good.
He's been
That
pretty
guy,
good since coming back.
you know him.
You know what I'm talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. But
That guy.
yeah. You got anything else on this T?
Nah, I'm Corey Davis. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Corey Davis. Yeah. Okay. That's what I wasn't sure if that's what you're talking about or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I can't trust anybody in Indy at all, whether they're a runner, pass catcher. I would like to think, this would be a great time to have a running back that you could trust in Indy because you can run on Tennessee. You know what I mean? But you just don't know who's going to get the ball. They're still trying to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Jordan Wilkins is actually looking like the better running back. But obviously they have the high draft capital on Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
So, on the Tennessee side, what do y'all think about Jonnu Smith, man?
Got a touchdown last week.
He did get a touchdown last week, but
what was it? Two catches?
Yeah, once again. Yeah, so it's a little scary thought, but I'm gonna try him again because
it's week 10, man. At this point, the chaff has been separated from the wheat at this point. And again, tight ends are like really thin in the league. You match that with injury and COVID. I mean, you might be. I'm gonna be forced to play him this week. I have Hayden Hurst, and they're on bye, so I'm forced to go with him. And I don't see much difference. I see 3 catches at the most, and maybe a touchdown.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's all I got.
Gotcha. All right. So next game we got Houston and Cleveland. I'll start off by saying I was wrong about Randall Cobb last week. I just want to throw that out there. So when it comes to Randall Cobb and Brandon Cooks, don't take my advice. I think it's going to be one guy one week and it ends up being the other guy. So I'm staying away from those two. The person who, of course, always going to talk about Will Fuller, just an interesting stat about him. He's scored in 6 consecutive games.
Yep.
In every single game this year, with the exception of one game, he's either scored or he's gone above 100 receiving yards.
Yep.
Which, I mean, to me, I knew he's been producing, but I just didn't know how good he's been. So
we didn't know he would stay healthy. He's always been this good, to be honest with you. He just hasn't been on the field.
Yeah, it's always been in like a 3-week burst, and then he go out.
Yeah, 3-week burst,
go out.
150 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then torn hamstring in the same game. So
right.
And then the other just point I have this week. So I guess David Johnson, he's still in concussion protocol. So if you need to stream somebody at running back like I do, Duke Johnson.
Yep.
Pick him up. He's going to get the ball, whether it's running. And he's always been a solid pass catcher out the backfield. So especially if you're playing in PPR, I think he's going to add some value there. As far as Cleveland goes, another injury update. Just got to keep an eye on Nick Chubb if he's going to come back this week. I know a lot of people are hoping he's coming back. Regardless, though, I still think you can play Kareem Hunt. I think even if Chubb comes back, he's going to have to, split the workload. And the best part about this is the Houston rush defense is awful. So I think you continue to play running backs against them. I also like Jarvis Landry this week. Against the Raiders, the weather wasn't that great. The flow of that game was all messed up, but he still was targeted 11 times. So I think he'll continue to be their go-to receiver. I mean, the real handicap for him is you just don't know what kind of Baker Mayfield you're going to get,
Right.
week to week.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the one that you saw in Oakland, or is it going to be the one you saw against Cincy who threw like 5 touchdowns? So you just kind of, got to keep an eye on that. And then, of course, just going back to Houston, of course, Deshaun Watson, got to play him. He's going to continue to do his thing as well.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, man, I hope Nick Chubb is playing. And yeah, you could definitely play both of those running backs. You could even make an argument that Kareem Hunt actually kind of does better when Chubb is in, So he's actually really running the ball similar amount of times. They've been kind of rotating some other guys in there while Chubb has been out. So he's actually really been getting just a few more touches with him out than with him in. So I wouldn't be afraid to start either one of those guys if they're playing. On the Houston side, I'm still rolling with Brandon Cooks, man. I told y'all boys, y'all laughed at me. I told y'all.
You're right.
Bill O'Brien was holding him back, man. But yeah, man. So I'm rolling with those guys still. So.
Yeah, for me, man. If I had told you at the beginning, if I had told you in the offseason that Austin Hooper would have 1 touchdown in week 10 or through week 10, you should not have believed me. Even I know, Steve, you said, he benefited from, the Atlanta offense just kind of being Johnny on the spot there. But I would not have believed he would have only had 1 receiving touchdown on the year. I know he's been injured, but he's underperformed is not even the word. And even when having the opportunity between when Landry was, Gimpy or Odell being out while he was still playing, he just has not been able to get open in this offense. I It's like one of the most mind-boggling things in the world. I really thought this guy was going to be a Pro Bowl tight end in this league.
You know what? That being said, what you said, I would actually still pick him up. I still pick him up. He's definitely out there in a few free. Yeah, you heard it here first. He's out there on a few free agent pools. Tight end is just we all know the woes of tight end. You got Odell out. They gotta pass it to somebody. Although when Chubb comes back, obviously the plan is to be very, very run heavy. But I do believe some things could open for him, and I feel like they need him.
They need him to get open, but coming back he just came back off the surgery. He doesn't have game speed.
Right.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I wouldn't start him this week necessarily, but I would actually pick him up. Yeah. If I'm hurting at tight end, which a lot of people are, I would consider it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nah.
All right, next game we got the Washington football team and the Detroit Lions. I want to start out and say I lost a game this week by 1.72 points. Antonio Gibson fumbled last week, and that was the difference in the game.
Wow.
Man, I've been singing his praises all year, and he finally, scores a touchdown, fumbles, cost me the game, but, it's a game of inches. The big thing this week is he did not practice today. He's a little banged up. He has a shoulder injury. So this week, I would play or pick up J.D. McKissick if you can get him. And he's still out there in a lot of leagues, especially because he's another person kind of like a Duke Johnson who's really good at catching the ball out of the backfield. He's actually had 6 catches in 4 out of the last 5 games that they played. And we all know how Washington's quarterback play has been. So I really like J.D. McKissick this week. I think he's going to get to do more of what he's been doing the last few weeks. And I think you just got to keep an eye out on Antonio Gibson. If he's going to practice tomorrow and Friday, that'll be really telling about, whether or not you can trust him this particular week. Of course, you got to play Terry McLaurin. I'm not ready yet to say he is matchup proof, but he keeps finding a way to produce. even with the shoddy quarterback play. So I really like him going. And then, just as far as, down the stretch this year, if you need a receiver or you got him on your team, he's definitely, wide receiver one material right
He's
now.
quarterback proof.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much. And then going to the other side really quickly, I'll let you guys talk about these Detroit pass catchers because I'm a little
I don't want to.
I
I don't want
I'm
to.
hesitant on all of them, but I actually like DeAndre Swift this week. Another person, I doubted him last week, and he damn near had 100 total scrimmage yards last week. And one of the things about Washington, you can run the ball in them. I saw Wayne Gallman last week, doing well against them. And there's no reason, DeAndre Swift can't do the same thing. I think he's a better player than Gallman. He has more potential both as a runner and a pass catcher. So for me, I think he's Detroit's best option. In terms of their receivers, I'm staying away from all of them, but I would give Hawkinson a shot this week just because Washington is really tough against the pass. And I think your best bet, I think they are going to have to throw the ball at some point, but tight end is probably going to be where they have the most success, in my opinion.
Definitely. That's actually where they're the most vulnerable is against the tight end. So I definitely, if I'm starting one Detroit Lions pass catcher, it is TJ Hawkinson. Man, DeAndre Swift, man, we know he's good, right? Like, but I just don't know. Like the moment you count on him, that's
right.
the moment he's gonna fail you. So like I heard what you were saying, and I was just like, this is a trap, man. Like
Right.
it's just all too good.
You just don't want to believe it. It's like I know better. I know better than this.
Yeah, so I want to tell you to start DeAndre Swift, but I'm also going to tell you folks, don't be surprised if he fails you tremendously.
Don't be surprised if AP gets 80 yards and 2
Yeah,
touchdowns.
exactly. Revenge game against the Washington football team.
Right.
So yeah, man, I like McKissick too. We all know Alex Smith. He's a check down Charlie, and that's his type of guy. So and he was already getting the targets as it is. So yeah, man, I'm with it.
Yeah, I've liked McKissick since he was in Atlanta, man, as a rookie. And he just hasn't been given the right opportunities. Obviously, he's in a situation now where he's not going to be the guy. He's not the guy type of guy, but he's obviously shown his worth in the league by staying relevant all these years. It's interesting. We brought up Wayne Gallman and Hawkinson guys. So we have a forthcoming episode where we're gonna outline all three of our what we call like a heroes or guys you want to roll with for the remainder of the fantasy football's slate is going to get you in and through the playoffs. And both Hawkinson and Gallman are on my all heroes save my neck team. So this team is going to comprise of guys that should still be on the waiver wire or just getting their chances due to injury or COVID situation like that. So look out for that episode coming up.
Can't wait.
Awesome. All right, next game we got Jacksonville and Green Bay. So I gotta first say this guy Jake Luton, he had a decent game.
Yeah.
He was not that bad. He threw a touchdown, he ran one in, and he went for over 100 yards. If he can do it 2 games in a row, I might say if you're, looking for a quarterback, maybe you give him a shot. I just feel like Jacksonville is going to be losing, games the whole season. So they're probably going to have to throw a lot. And if, he can continue, to play well, I think there might be something there, but, need to see, a lot more from him. And I think, one of the things this week, I'm definitely playing DJ Shark this week. Green Bay's pass defense is really not that good. They're allowing about 70% completions, and I think they're 30th in terms of overall opposing QB passer rating. So They're not as good against the pass as and they're not, really super good against the run either. So, their offense has pretty much been carrying them the whole year. So, with that being said, best option on Jacksonville, still James Robinson. He was 1 yard shy last week of his third 100-yard game of the season, and Green Bay's allowing 4.5 yards per carry to opposing running backs. My only real, I guess, I don't know if it's a concern, but one thing you want to pay attention to is Jacksonville going to be in the game where they can run the football. I think that's kind of, what happened, to San Francisco last week. I think McKinnon could have had an even better game, but, if you're getting blown out by Green Bay, it's going to be hard, to keep running the football. But I'm still playing him if I got him. He's been, awesome. So I definitely, would keep him rolling. And as far as Green Bay is concerned, I mean, keep rolling with the usual suspects: Rodgers, Jones, and Devontae Adams. And I think you might be able to get away with MVS this week, because I'm thinking at some point, like, you got to double team Devontae Adams. Like, at some point, you got to, I don't know, you got to put an extra guy on him or something, because he's been going.
It don't matter.
You'll live and die by him.
It don't matter, man. Like, man, I tell you, I wanted to get Devontae Adams this year, and I was not able to get him in any of my leagues. I was really disappointed, but man, I mean, he did miss a few games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That
but
dude's unstoppable.
yeah, my only reasoning is if I'm watching all these games, I know you guys are, and I know coaches who've got tape, like, he can't be stopped. So I feel like at some point you got to put an extra person, which would open things up for other people. But until this point, he's still dominating. So
Dominating.
Yeah.
But
Well, with MVS, man, Lazard's on his way back too. So, I mean, this may be the last week for that to happen.
right. Yeah, I agree. I was just about to say the same thing myself. And Lazard still is available in a lot of leagues, even after the waiver wire. So that is somebody who I would definitely be looking to pick him up. So I think he could definitely assist a lot of people, maybe in a flex position
Mm-hmm.
in playoffs. You know what I mean? Playoff special coming up. I don't know. He might be on somebody's list.
Somebody's got to live.
As far as James Robinson goes, I think this is a great game for him. Green Bay is not good at all against the run, and to be honest with you, Jake Luton, he's played good enough that he might be able to. They might be able to stay somewhat in the game, and he is a pass catcher too. So I wouldn't be afraid of him. So, yeah. Tunyon, you can drop him. I don't know if anybody's still trying to play him. He had his little hot streak when Devontae Adams was out. That was obviously because Devontae Adams was out. Since he came back, he's been trash.
That's right.
And you can get rid of him. Pick up Austin Hooper.
All right. So last game that I have, we got Philly and the Giants. Just a game I would not want to watch.
No.
Only person I really trust on Philly, who I've picked up and who has been really good for my team, Travis Fulgham. I mean, he's probably about the only player I trust. He's got at least 5 catches, 7 targets in the last 4 out of 5 games that he's played. So he's definitely reliable, despite everything that has happened in Philadelphia this year. And then the other thing to look out for on Philly is just, is Miles Sanders going to come back this week? Still been reading reports, he's practicing, he might play. They're not 100% sure. But what I would say is if he is not able to play, I think you can feel pretty good about playing Boston Scott as his backup. I mean, it's the Giants, so I'd give it a go.
It's the Giants.
So, and then I won't go into. I'll let I'll let T. Campbell talk about Wayne Gallman. But had I played Wayne Gallman last week, I would have won the game because he did better than Gibson, which was disappointing because I had him on the bench and I played him the week before when I won. I don't know. It's one of those things I wish I could have back, but
absolutely,
it is what it is.
3 weeks in a row, man. 3 weeks in a row.
I actually like Wayne Gallman. It's just like, it seems like the Giants sometimes don't like him. Like that's like the biggest thing is his amount of opportunities. But if he gets it, he is usually pretty money. For, you know what I mean? It's like he has a floor. If he's getting the start, he has a floor and he can get you in the double digits rather easily. So on the Eagles side, I actually like a few more people. Even though the Giants defense is at times tougher than you think or tougher than they look, I still like the Eagles offense. I like Carson Wentz in this game. I like Carson Wentz going forward, actually, because he's slowly getting his weapons back. Two of them I would actually start in this game. Jalen Rager, Fulgham, of course, but Jalen Rager and Dallas Goedert. These are two guys that are still available in a lot of leagues. I would pick up both of these guys, and I have in a couple of leagues. I have a couple of tight ends who are out this week, and I'm starting Goddard. So hopefully we can get something going there. So
definitely. And then one other guy who I actually really like this week. Speaking of tight ends, and everybody has their troubles, and even though he's been kind of inconsistent lately, Evan Ingram has been a lot better over the last 4 games, averaging 5 catches and 50 plus yards. Just with everything they have going on, like with the Golden Tate drama, Evan Ingram and Sterling Shepard to me are the really only options they have in the pass game. So I would play those two, especially this week, where I think they might have more success than they've had against a lot of other teams. So I like Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram also this week.
Okay. You like him more than I would.
I know, that's what I was about to say. I'm like, hey, do you, bro?
He'll never play for me again.
I agree. I got trust issues. Ingram, man. Like
I'm emotionally scarred, man. Scarred. I cannot.
That toxic relationship, man. I can't deal, man.
I wish you the best, though.
Moving on, we got Tampa Bay and Carolina here. Another NFC South rivalry game. I'm expecting Tampa to pick things up. They got embarrassed by the Saints last week. It's hard to trust a running back for them because you don't know exactly what they're going to do. But since they are going against Carolina, I'm gonna have to say that if you have Fournette, I would give him a go. If you got Ronald Jones, I'd start him too. So and we'll see. One of those guys, maybe both of those guys, will emerge. Tampa Bay, I think they ran the ball only 4 times against the Saints. Mm-hmm. So I have a feeling they're going to come out, try to establish the run. Carolina is very vulnerable against the run. So I could definitely see both of those guys having a pretty good game. As far as the pass catchers go, I think they get something going in the passing game. Carolina is actually one of the most generous teams against the tight end. So I could see Gronkowski maybe getting a touchdown in this game. I can also see Antonio Brown getting a little more. He was actually on the field 78% of the snaps in his first game back. So that means, look, they're already trusting him. Scotty Miller, he's out of there. Scott, you saw they were able to kind of produce, with 3 of those guys. Sometimes. I think they can continue to do that.
On the non-Lattimore side of the field,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. As long as Marshawn Lattimore is not playing. Right. But on the other side for Carolina, Looks like Christian McCaffrey is not going to be playing, so hopefully you held on to Mike Davis. He's a full go. Even though Tampa Bay has a tough run defense, he'll still be utilized as a pass catcher,
Right.
which is good because Tampa Bay has a pretty kind of tough pass defense as well. If you're looking for a guy, Curtis Samuel, he's been on fire lately.
Who was that playing last week? That was not the Curtis Samuel I drafted.
He's been good for like the past couple weeks now. They've been utilizing him in the run game. He's been getting rushing touchdowns. Yeah. So wouldn't be surprised if they utilize him in the run game too. DJ Moore, I don't know if I could trust him. Robbie Anderson's going to have a tough matchup against Carlton Davis. If I had to start one, it would actually be Curtis Samuel, just because it looks like they're finding creative ways to give him the ball.
That's right. Yeah, man, you touched on something there with Gronk maybe getting back in the game. I think if you're smart, you took that Saints game, you chromed it up, and you threw it away. Yeah. You cannot gauge what the Tampa offense is based off of that game. Right. It just wasn't there. It just wasn't their week. You know, there was really nothing to learn there other than Lattimore has Evans' number. He is his nemesis. He is his Bizarro. He is Solomon Grundy. He is his everything. So, but Gronk has quietly put together a nice little run here the last couple of 4 or 5 games on double-digit fantasy points outside of last week. And again, it looks like with Tampa, they were a prisoner of the moment with trying to get the ball, to their wide receivers in that last game. And they were like, watch this, and just abandoned the run for some ungodly reason. Because New Orleans hasn't been just completely stout against the run, but they abandoned it. So I definitely look for Ronald Jones in this game to get going, as well as Fournette.
By the way, from a fantasy football perspective, Tampa would be the shit if they still had Jameis Winston, man. Like, all these guys.
Just want to say that.
And they still had Jameis. Oh, my goodness.
Just want to say that.
It'd be unbelievable.
Like, yeah, he would have more interceptions, but he also have more yards.
For sure.
Yeah, no, that's for damn sure.
EJ, you got anything on this game?
Just that I think Chris Godwin is going to bounce back. So far, up to this point, he hasn't had any setbacks with the finger surgery. So I look for him to bounce back in a big way this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. I trust all of those. Yeah, you saw the breakdown by Chris Collinsworth.
Right. When I was playing, see what you do, you want to hit that finger.
Right. To me, here's the order for the receivers: Godwin, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans. That's just me personally, and I'd actually put Gronk over Mike Evans for this game in particular. Okay. So, so that wraps things up for us for part 1 of our Week 10 starts and sits. Make sure to tune in for part 2, and make sure to tune in for our playoff special that is coming soon. I know I said that in the last episode, but it's coming. We kind of build it up for y'all. You know what I mean? Yeah,
tease it a little bit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, we told y'all a couple of players that might be on there.
That's right.
So, just be on the lookout, and make sure to follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, and we are on Twitter as well at Fantasy Football MBAs. Do you guys have any parting words?
No, just make sure you're looking out for the episode, because we're actually going to be joined by NFL's. No, I'm joking.
Oh, man. You had me going for a minute. I was like, you know something I don't know.
Starting safety for. Never mind.
I know. We could probably get somebody for the Falcons. We could probably get somebody. Right. But anyway, until next time, we'll holler at y'all. Peace.